Hello everyone, back to you in today's video. Going to have a look at the weather next week's 10 days in today's video. We'll have a look also at the CFS V2 for the next month. That takes us towards the middle of July. And we're going to start by dealing with the heat wave. Because we are seeing some very hot weather at the moment. We've got another sort of day or so of this hot weather to go, and then from Thursday onwards it will cool down. Now I'm going to start by correcting an error that I made in yesterday's video. So I got the highest June temperature on record wrong, and I know people do get a little bit upset about this when I get the facts and figures and the numbers wrong. So the highest June maximum temperature for the UK, and this is on Trevor Harley's website, by the way. You can find a link to Trevor Harley's website on the links page. The highest June maximum temperature is 35.6 degrees, set on two dates, the 29th of June 1957, and that was in London, and again 35.6 degrees set on the 28th of June, there we are, in Southampton, in 1976. So it's 1976 and 1957, 35.6 degrees, the all-time June maximum temperature. Both years sort of share the all-time June temperature record. So that clears up the mistake that I made yesterday. Sorry about that to anybody that noticed that. Right, let's have a look at website xcweather.co.uk for the latest observations. It's another hot day down in south. It's a little bit cooler up in the north and the eastern part of the country today. So some slightly fresher air has come down from the North Sea. So for example, if you run down the east coast, Leconfield is at just 17 degrees. Weybourne in East Anglia is at just 15 degrees. Really quite cool and fresh. Lowestoft at 18 degrees. So if you want to escape the heat, if you're down in the south, you want to escape heat, get over towards the east coast. But down in the south, it's another hot day, especially in the far south. So at the moment, we've got Boscombe down at 27 degrees. Have a look at Farnborough, we're at 27 degrees. Go further south to Southampton, 27 degrees. Bournemouth Airport is just about the highest I can find at the moment at 29 degrees. These southern counties, Exeter Airport is at 28, and so on. Dunk as well at 26. These southern counties are going to continue to see the temperatures lifting up through this afternoon. So again, I think 32, 33 degrees is possible somewhere across the south this afternoon. This is what the high resolution arpège model is predicting. This is from the website theweatheroutlook.com. These are the maximum temperatures that the model is predicting. So right now it's expecting temperatures to be at around 29, 30, 31, 32 degrees in the far south and southwest at midday. That was its forecast. It's going to be important for when we come on to tomorrow's forecast. So at the moment it appears to be overcooking the temperatures by around 2 or 3 degrees compared to what we see on the observations. Now running through the afternoon, we find that the model is actually going for temperatures to be rising up to 33, 34, possibly 35 degrees being signalled down in the southwest. Let's get that back up again. These are quite hard to make out, but the model is going for sort of 33, 34 degrees this afternoon down in the far southwest of the country. As we run through into tomorrow, which we know is not a record breaker at this stage, it's not the all-time June temperature record, but as we run through to tomorrow, the model is actually increasing the temperatures again. It's going to be a hotter day tomorrow across all parts of England and Wales, particularly with temperatures into the low 30s. And through the afternoon, the model is suggesting that temperatures could get up to around 36 degrees. I'll just zoom in for you a little bit on that. So there we go. It is going up to 36 degrees there down across the southwestern part of the country. Now, if that came off, that would break the all-time June temperature record set in 1957 and 1976. So that will be our hottest June day on record if it came off. I mean, the reason I'm a bit dubious about this is that we can see from its forecast now, where it's suggesting temperatures in the south should be up to around 32 degrees in some places. We know that that's a little bit overdone compared to where we are right now. So we'll know this afternoon, I think, whether this model has this right, because if we see temperatures going up to, let's say, 34 degrees somewhere in the south this afternoon, then tomorrow we could be on to that forecast of 36 degrees. But I think it's a little bit over the top, and I think we'll probably not break the all-time June record. But it is certainly going to be a very hot day tomorrow. You can see that temperatures by model widely being predicted to be into the low 30s, around the 90 Fahrenheit mark. This could well set off thunderstorms as well tomorrow. It could be a very lively day, especially in northern eastern parts of the country. And actually, I'm going to update Storm Watch this evening. There could be some thundery potential with this heat that we have tomorrow. Once that's done, then the heat is more or less on its way out. So as we go through to Thursday, let's just zoom out again. As we go through to Thursday, well, we've still got a little bit of heat left in the morning across the southeast on Thursday, but look at this, very quickly through the day, that's draining away. It's actually turning cooler in the afternoon on Thursday compared to what we see in the morning. So by the end of Thursday afternoon, looking about, it's much cooler and fresher, with temperatures back down into the low to mid-20s Celsius. So if you don't like the heat, another day or so left of it, and then Thursday we'll see the change to cooler and fresher conditions. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. This is the heat wave we've got going on right now. It peaks tomorrow very close to 20 Celsius at 850 HPA. And that's really unusually hot for June. Normally I expect to see temperatures going to that sort of level in July or August, but it's still fairly early in the summer, really. So that's a very hot upper air temperature to be achieving down across the south. Then it's downhill all the way over the end of the week and into the weekend, so cooling off. Not cold, don't think it's going to be going cold, it's just going to be going back closer to average. And then early next week, maybe a little lift up in the temperatures again, although that's much more unsettled stuff. It's around an area of low pressure that's probably going to produce quite a bit of rain. As we go through to the early part of July, this is the first week of July just here, you can see that then actually the model is going a bit, or the ensemble I should say, is going a bit cooler than average. Certainly no sign that we're going back to the level of heat that we've got at the moment. For precipitation, some showery bursts coming through over the next few days. You probably wouldn't look at that and think there's going to be much in the way of thunder, but remember, this is the ensemble for London down in the far southeast. I think the storms will be more widespread further north and east of this. So, as I said, we'll deal with all of that this evening with Storm Watch. Over weekend into next week, turning more unsettled. There's some quite big precipitation spikes coming through there. Then into the start of July, it's also looking more unsettled as well. So it appears we're going into a cooler and more unsettled phase overall for the end of June and the start of July. Temperature anomalies for the next week from the 20th of June, 28th of June. They are warmer than average through most parts of Europe, British Isles is included. Precipitation anomalies from the 20th, 28th of June, still just about dry than average in the south, going wetter than average in the north. Expect those to trend wetter over the next few days. Here we go with the GFS for Friday then. We're bringing in this cooler, fresher westerly wind. By that point, that's going to be a lot more comfortable if you don't like the heat. Into the weekend, and low pressure remains close to the north and west, so it may be a fairly unsettled weekend actually up in the north, but for the south we're still close to this ridge from the Azores high, so I think it will give a protective sort of cover for southern parts of the country over the weekend, albeit there might be a few showery bursts around, there'll probably be a fair amount of cloud as well, but the most unsettled conditions for the weekend look like they're going to be in the north and the west. But then early next week, this is Monday, low pressure starts to head in off the Atlantic, so that's turning more unsettled more widely across the country. Maybe some thundery rain coming in with that. And then through the course of next week, it looks very unsettled. We talked about this in yesterday's video. A usually deep area of low pressure for the time of year, 980 millibars across Scotland. That's kind of autumnal area of low pressure, bringing showers along the spells of rain across the country. So we're going from the heat of this week to, well, a little taste of autumnal conditions next week. That is the fickle nature of the British summer. We move through to the end of the month. This takes us to day 10, which is Friday, 30th of June. And it's still all looking rather unsettled, really. We're trying to build up a bit of a ridge across France again, but it's low pressure that's in control for the closing days of June. ECMWF has this westerly wind coming through on Friday. That looks cooler and fresh. We've lost the heat wave. We go through into the weekend. And for the south, again, it doesn't look too bad. The ridge from the Azores High is trying to keep a protective sort of cover for the south, but for the north it does look a lot more unsettled over the weekend, and even in the south there may be a few showers coming through at times. Early next week, looks like it's just generally turning more unsettled. The main low is in the Atlantic here, that area of low pressure just there, but there are troughs and little areas of low pressure within the flow, so I think it's turning more unsettled with rain for most of us early next week, and then this main area of low pressure starts to head in through the middle part of next week, so that looks really unsettled through the middle part of next week. Low pressure is diving in, albeit it's not quite as deep as the low pressure that we see with the GFS, but it's the same thing really. Quite a deep area of low pressure is heading in through the middle part of next week. We finish up on day 10, which is Friday, 30th of June, last day of the month, looking cool and really quite changeable indeed, with showers or longer spells of rain coming through. What about beyond that? Let's just have a very quick look finally at the CFS V2. A bit of an extended update today. There's a lot going on. So we'll have a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies from the CFS V2. Broke down to week periods. The first week period takes us from today, 20th, through to the 26th of June. So we've got high pressure close to the country, gradually losing its influence to these areas of low pressure from the north and the west. But we know we're starting off hot, and then it's turning cooler as we're going along. Then we go through to week 2, and what a change for week 2, 27th of June to the 3rd of July. A deep trough of low pressure is almost centred over the country. That ridge has pulled back into the central Atlantic, so we're doing something like that. Jet stream on the cool side of the jet, and we're unsettled as well. That looks pretty grim as we go through to the very end of June and the start of July. However, week 3 sees another change. This is the 4th through to the 10th of July, when above average heights are building back again, and this low pressure is lifting out to Greenland Iceland. So that's sending the jet stream back north again. That's probably turning significantly warmer and drier there as we're going through the early part of July. And then we finish up with this rather bizarre looking chart for week 4, which is the 11th to the 17th of July. High pressure or above average heights to the north and to the northwest of the country. Not sure what else is going on. Probably bringing in easterly winds. There may be low pressure to the south. That could be quite warm and thundery perhaps there through the middle part of July. But it is a rather bizarre and odd looking chart. Temperature anomalies are also very striking. So the coming week, the 20th, 26th of June, looks very, very hot with those temperature anomalies, especially down in the south. The anomaly is over 3 degrees above average. But week 2, look at this. We're going from that very hot level to colder than average for the week from the 27th of June to the 3rd of July. The temperature anomaly is below average, perhaps as much as 1 to 2 degrees below average. So what a change from week 1 to week 2, and as I said, it's just the fickle nature of the British summer. We go through to week 3, and the temperature anomaly then is beginning to go a little bit warmer than average once more. That's as that ridge is building back up from the southwest. And week 4 is also looking warmer than average, probably bringing in easterly winds. Precipitation anomalies for the coming week, it's drier than average, but bear in mind there is a risk of thunderstorms. Week 2, not only is it colder than average, average. It's also wetter than average for the very end of June, the start of July. Week 3 looks drier than average, and then week 4 just looks like having average precipitation. So real contrast going on. We're starting off with this very unusual and quite intense heat wave. But it looks like we might turn a little bit autumnal, would you believe, next week with low pressure dominating. And then as we move beyond that into the early part of July and possibly running into the second week of July, we might start to see warmer and drier conditions coming back. So quite a changeable time of it. And of course at the moment it's a case of all eyes on the heat wave and the thunderstorms. We'll update Storm Watch for you this evening to see what the thundery potential is tomorrow. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.